ready for Brown Gravy. Oh, taste and see, there's a word for you and me. Ready for Brown Gravy.
Serving the uncompromising truth makes us truly free.
Open your heart, your mind, your soul, he'll make you whole.
Preaching with power.
It's the relevant leadership strategist.
Are you ready for brown gravy? I wonder, are you ready for brown gravy? Listen, it is college, COVID, and Christianity. I have my brilliant, bright, beautiful uh, panel of presenters, discussers. Is discussers a word? I don't know. Okay, so but at any rate, they will all be joining and gathering with me in order to talk a little bit about a couple of different topics, hot topics concerning their world and what's happening and going on with them from their perspective. All of them are college kids, so they're college age. Here's what I need you to do. Go ahead and tag someone who is of college age, and let's have a discussion and talk a little bit about what's kind of happening in the world. Today, we're planning on talking about honor and music. We might not get to all those topics. We might not get to any one of the topics because the way we do our platform is we start out with Q&A, and if there are no questions on the floor, and or if you don't ask any questions, then we go right on into some of the topics that we've already had pre-planned for discussion. And so we'd absolutely love to hear from you there in the comment box. You just pop in any question that you'd like. Of course, you can comment as we are going and talking. And I think today is going to end up being a very, very good conversation. We've talked about so many things up to this point. I don't even remember which broadcast number this is. I need to go back and chronicle these things. I've not done it up to this point. But we've talked about things from church and church at large, and we're going to be talking about church again, by the way. We've talked about Black Lives Matter. We've talked about, just about everything. We talked about some serious issues that may have happened while they were in college, where they needed and had to lean on God. So we went to kind of all kinds of different areas and all kinds of things. And I think that it has been therapeutic and healthy for them to actually have an opportunity to have a platform to speak. Now, one of the things that I definitely have been made aware of just through the Holy Spirit is that when we start experiencing things, when I mean adults, those who are kind of the movers and shakers of the world, usually we're making decisions and thinking through things and moving forward without looking back at the next generation to get their input and or just to see how they're feeling. We don't even know how they feel. And so we want to give them an opportunity to talk about how they feel, what they view in any kind of situation that may come up. So again, you get an opportunity to ask questions, and they, of course, will have that opportunity to ask questions as well as we have our discussion today. College, COVID, Christianity. All right. So tag some people. Yep, you watching right there. All of you tag. And then we also ask that you don't be a phantom watcher. You know what a phantom watcher is, right? That you don't actually click on for the stream to populate in your phone or in your tablet. No, I want you to actually click on it and come on, pop on in. Don't be a phantom watcher. And then do me another favor. Tag a college student. Tag a college student. Quentin, how are you, man? God bless you. God bless you. We want you to tag a student that is in college because it's all about them and their perspective today. Last night at 9, we had our millennials on the call or on the live. This morning at noon, we have our college kids, and they're a little more like Generation, I believe, Z. I believe you all are Generation Z. And then tomorrow, we're going to be dealing with Generation Y. Why? I don't know, but okay, that's what we're going to do. All right. So tag somebody from college, share the video, and let's get ready to rumble. All right. First up, let's do the trio. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you for tagging someone too, Quentin. First, one of our first panelists is usually with us, Kiana Edie. She is our resident activist, you know, Black Power and all. So we're going to pull her in. Hey, girl.
Hey, sir. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. How about yourself?
I'm great.
Good. Introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself. And before we bring in our next group.
Hello, all. My name is Kiana Edie. I attend Claflin University, majoring in middle level education, concentrations in science and social studies. Set to graduate in December, and I'm super ready for that. Um, yeah, that's me.
And she's Black Power.
Black Power all day. Black Lives Matter.
Listen, I love it. What shirt is that you have on? Let me
Oh,
get
this shirt?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I went to this event, Wholesome Retreat.
Yeah.
About, I think it was 2 years ago, from the Best Church, the Sword of Truth. Home is where having our minds enriched. Yeah.
So home means having our minds enriched.
Yes.
I love it. Whoever came up with that acronym, I think
It's a genius.
Yeah, they're genius. They need to be blessed and highly favored kind of.
In the name.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. All right, let's. Then you got some people speaking to you right there. So.
Hey, Mom.
Mm-hmm. Our next group, they usually come in as a trio, because they're just trios. It's some of my favorite people. The beautiful young ladies. I mean, just absolutely beautiful, brilliant, and bright. And one set are twins. So it's a twin and a sister, but we just call them the trio for right now. Let's bring in the trio Majets. Hey, girls.
There we go. Hey.
So introduce yourselves and tell the viewing audience a little bit about you, and let's move forward.
Hey guys.
You know you got to move that thing towards you so we can hear you.
Yes. I'm Shadisha Majette. I attend North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I'm a rising sophomore. And yeah, just chilling, you know.
Mm-hmm. And your major is what?
Oh, my major is healthcare services management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey y'all. My name is Kanisha Majette, and I am a rising sophomore. And I go to the best school in the land, Aggie Nation. My major is construction management / architectural design.
Hey,
Hey.
my name is Kashara Majette. I am a rising senior at the illustrious Claflin University. I'm a political science major and mass communications minor, and my concentration is journalism. And yeah.
So let's start with some Q&A. We usually have a few more folk on our panel, Tay, Bowen, and Lex, Lexus Davis, and they're all like working or pulled away for other things. And so just making sure everyone knows that kind of thing. Every now and then we'll end up having some special guests pop in and have a conversation with us. So we'll see how that goes. So I'd like to start with Q&A. And so I want to first and foremost find out if you guys, the panel, have any questions for me.
Okay. So how do you know how things come up in your head and you really feel like you've seen this and been here before? And how do you know that it's okay, wait, I think there's two questions. Okay, the first question is, how do you know that something is an embedded memory? How do you know that? And then two, when deja vu happens, should you be excited? Because I get happy, I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so the first part of that question is, how do you know if something is an embedded memory?
Yeah, like something like because I remember something and like it was sparked by something that happened, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I remembered that, and so now I have to do some healing over a situation because I forgot. I I don't know. I didn't remember it. Makes sense.
So when we talk about embedded memories, I want to make sure that I hit it head on. Are you saying something that you may have experienced and forgot, and then when you came back, something came up that kind of brought it? Okay. Well, let me kind of answer it in a way. Well, let me just answer it. Okay. I think when that happens, embedded memory kind of thing, what the lesson in all of it is now you have the ability to do something about it. So if it's an embedded memory that is something negative, and that feeling kind of comes back over you again, usually when memories are embedded, it is because at the time something like that happens, you're not mature enough to process it. And so when you're unable to process the thing, you store it. You see what I mean? Usually when we process it, we're able to kind of use the good and just throw away whatever else. But if I'm unable to process it properly, kind of get it, wrap it around my mind, let it kind of, roll around in my spirit, and then use the good of it, I'll put it in storage. By the way, there's a whole lot of people who got a lot of embedded memory stored, because the only way I'm able to deal with those things is if I have a strong enough processor to get it done. Oh, this is a perfect question. Wow. So let me tell you what I've been doing. I have a MacBook Air. That's the laptop that I usually use to do live streaming. But I've been noticing for a while that we have these freezing moments, and although we're talking, we're looking at one another, and our faces it was just frustrating the bejesus out of me. And I was like, well, this is a Mac, so with the Mac, it should be okay. Here's what I found out: that the Air has a lower processing system than the Pro. And if I wanted to do live streaming with the stuff we're kind of doing now, I need to go to the Pro. Here it is. If I keep using the Air, although it works so hard that the fan starts going and it'll shut down. With the Pro, the processor is strong enough that no matter what I'm throwing at it at that time, it's able to kind of get it all calculated and spit the information back out in usable form. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we hit experiences in our life and our processor, brain, heart, emotions are like on overload and the fan starts going, we tend to shut down. That means you store that stuff in places that you don't have to deal with it at that point. Now, here's the problem with that, though. If you store too many of those experiences, then you have no more room for new experiences. So now you got to clean your database. But I digress. So then if I upgrade my processing system, now I can grab old memories, deal with present memories, and also think about the future because the processor is strong enough, you see? And so then when those old memories come up, usually it's now either you got too much in your storage that you got to deal with something before you crash, or your processor is strong enough now to pull that information from the back to the present so that you can get all the good out of it and move it forward into the future. Does that make sense? Okay, and by the way, I'm not using my Air today. I'm using my wife's Dell, and it's working a little bit better, but you can best believe by the next time we do this again, I'm going to have a stronger processor in Jesus. Felt that. Shop time in Jesus' name. I like big toys. When I shop big toys. Now, the other part of your question was deja vu. And you said you get happy when deja vu happens, but was the question, does deja vu actually happen? Is it something real? Was that what you asked?
No, I was just saying, like, I don't know. I guess my question was like, how should I feel? Well, I guess yeah, how should I feel? Because I've been getting a lot of it lately. It's just been like, oh my god, I've been here before. Like,
Mhm.
so yeah.
Yeah, deja vu is real. It's a,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a term to coin a very real um, experience. I don't know how much time I want to spend in it because it takes a little longer to explain than the time that I'm going to, but I want to give enough information so that people can walk away with a little bit of understanding. The scripture says that God, who we all come from, is past, present, and future. He is eternal, and in his eternalness, that means he was here before here began. He was in the beginning before the beginning ever began. You understand? Like he was and is to come, like all in one. I mean, wrap your mind around that. By the way, like he was and is to come. He is eternal. Time does not work with him. It doesn't compute. So when God sees us and sees it all, he sees it as a total map at once. We experience it in stages called time. He sees it all in the map called eternity. Now, that being said, the scripture says that we are birthed and or born out of and from him. All souls are his. He is the prime mover. He is the catalyst. So although mom and daddy got together and there was a releasing of sperm for an egg, the soul didn't come from mom or daddy. The soul came from God. So that means a piece of eternity was plucked off and thrown into time into the womb of your mother. Now here you go walking around as a human being with God quality. And there's a whole lot of people walking around with God quality that don't even realize it and they're living beneath their privilege, but I digress. So then that means that your body is trying to catch up with what your spirit knows. So if God is in the past and the present and the future, and you're thrown into this human body, then that means your spirit has also been with God in the past, the present, and the future. So remember, God sees it all as one map. We see it in increments. So when we hit an increment of time, our spirit already saw it in eternity while we were with him. And so then your spirit says, yeah, we know what this is. Your flesh is like, I feel like I've been here before. Well, the only reason why it feels like it's been here before because the flesh wasn't, but the spirit was. And so then that language is trying to be communicated from spirit to flesh, flesh to spirit. And it's like, yeah, I've been here. I thought you just said, I felt like you said this before, and I felt like I said this, and then this is kind of what happened. It's because it did. But it happened in eternity, yet to unfold in time. And so, yeah, you can be happy about it. All it means is you are getting closer and closer to connecting spirit to be the driving force and not your flesh, because we walk by faith, not by sight. Great question. Hopefully I explained it where it didn't confuse you.
So I got a question, Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, Miss Rona, she's still out here in these streets, Corona. Um, and like the cases are like starting to rise again, right? And it's like we're kind of like going through like the second wave of it. And it doesn't appear as if um like there are any precautionary measures or any actions in the future that'll like try to help flatten the curve, i.e. we won't go back into confinement again. So my question is, one, how do you foresee Corona going? Like, do you see it ending anytime soon? Do you see just like what are your thoughts about where it's going? And two, how should we adjust to being back open? Even though cases are still rising and it's still out there.
Great question. Y'all always ask me the tough stuff, man. What these college, I told the millennials last night, my college kids be hitting me. So here we go. First, let me say, because I know there are people who say things like, well, if you're such a prophet, why didn't people see COVID coming? Like COVID-19, usually, for the most part, everyone was talking about this new year being whatever. But no one prophesied that there'd be a great pandemic that'll come to stop the whole world from moving. Not that I'm aware of. And here's my answer to that I believe that God hid it from the prophets. I think he hid it from everybody. Only because the gifts of God can be so gregarious, they can be so strong that we start leaning more on the gift than the gift giver, you see? And so I'm leaning more on my ability to prophesy than my ability to pray and hear what to prophesy from God. So then I move and prophesy off of gift and not necessarily move and prophesy off of prayer plus gift. And the prayer links me to God. God whispers in my ear, then I speak what he is saying in the moment, right? So he had to hide that so that we can learn that it's not the gift that's the greatest thing. It's the giver of the gift. That's the greatest thing. So everybody now is having to lean back on God because we didn't know and we weren't prepared. And we was like, oh, wait, what's happening? All right. So now Corona is here and everybody is kind of leaning back in God. Here's my thoughts, though, as it relates to Corona. I don't think it's going to go away. I don't think it's going to go away. Now, I don't mean to sound like a doomsday anything, but I just don't think it is. What I think is going to happen is Corona is going to be something similar to what happens with the flu. And so, like when there is what's called the flu season, I believe that there's going to be what you call a Corona, quote unquote, season, where it just kind of comes around as one of those viruses that sticks around forever. Now, that being said, I also believe that there is currently a vaccine. I really do. And I think that they're releasing the vaccine incrementally and making whatever needs to happen through this Corona happen. Now, I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but Corona just don't seem like it's natural. But I digress. And I don't mean that it's supernatural either. I mean that it's manufactured. But again, I digress. That man kind of came up with some little concoction. Yeah. And so with the concoction that was created, there's also an elixir for it because man's initial thought from the very beginning is self-preservation. So they wouldn't create anything that have something in store to try to help preserve themselves. I think it got out of hand. I don't think they meant for it to do what it's doing, but it is what it is. And so there will be vaccines made. It's almost like what happened with AIDS. When AIDS first came out, it was a death sentence that if you got AIDS, you're dead, period, point blank. Now they've gotten all of a sudden these drugs and antibodies, whatever they created, that helps one live with AIDS and live long with AIDS. And I also heard suppress it enough to where it's almost undetectable. But it went from being no cure to now I can make it almost undetectable. So I think that Corona is going to end up being something along the lines of that. It'll be around, but there'll be vaccines and medicines and all that. And so if there's a vaccine and medicine, that means money because you're going to have to pay for the medicine and the vaccine. And if it's in high demand, now that means that stock rises in that particular pharmaceutical, and pockets are padded by people who are in the inside of this development of the pharmaceutical. And so then it grows by way of money and past the pockets of those who are kind of in the know, and then proliferates from that point on. And so what I think we should do as we're opening up is be very, very cautious and careful. I don't think that we can stay hidden in homes forever. I don't think that can happen. But I do think that cautiously and carefully, we start venturing back out with the understanding that Lysol might be the new deodorant, or perfume or cologne that you squirt. You're spraying yourself with Lysol as your cologne. You put Izzy Miyake down and put Lysol on. That hand sanitizer becomes the new lotion. That every moment we touch something, we're squirting hand sanitizer to keep germs and all those kind of things off of our hand, and that we wear masks. And man is so innovative and creative that they can come up with ways where it's more breathable. The breathability of the mask becomes better than what the current masks that we have now. But if I wear a mask, you wear a mask, it reduces the release of the transmission to 1.5%. So now, we're able to communicate one with another without passing the virus, to us, while also standing 6 feet apart. But I think even if you get closer, you're still, if I'm masked and you're masked, you're down to 1.5% of passing that virus. That's better than any other movement and any other thing. And so then staying masked up, keeping hand sanitizer near you, and maybe bathing every now and then, take a Lysol spray around and then walk on about your business. Now, here again, you're talking money. So that means the people who create Lysol, well, everybody's going to be buying it. So more money. The people who create hand sanitizer, well, everybody's going to be buying it. So it all goes up. So in your car, there's a hand sanitizing station. At your house, there are hand sanitizing stations. At every place you go to, there are hand sanitizing stations. So as you're walking in a building, you touch. Oh, and that things won't be like touch. You don't touch to do anything. You just walk through. So the door opens. So now automatic doors are going to be popular. Nobody's going to want to touch a door. So now we have to invest in automatic doors, and then doors open up. So I mean, it can be done, and we can go back out there without shutting the world totally down if we put our brains to work. Did that make any kind of sense? Okay, yeah. I'm trying to answer your question without saying every single thing I think, because everybody ain't ready for all that. I think we'll talk off camera.
Yeah, I had a follow-up question, but I was like, I don't know.
Follow it up. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You started mentioning like money and stuff like that, and like it just triggered the question of, do you think coronavirus was like implemented because it was man-made? Like, was it implemented to help contribute toward capitalism and to help it thrive? Because it seemed like it was kind of like, I would say capitalism was dying down, but you can definitely see, especially with like the presidential election, with like more so socialist agendas with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and other Democratic candidates, like it just seemed like it was thrown to try to be like, nope, capitalism is the way of the land. That's what it's gonna be. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're on it, Rev. You're on it.
You have to understand, the government can implicate like different ways to control population, like population control. So that could actually play into that as well. So yes, it's money, but you also got to understand the stock market. You also have to understand economy rise and fall that you like. So yeah, I also feel as though Corona was implicated to like be population control. Like I don't need this many people. You know what I'm saying? Because what Earth, like literally, like if you actually read up, our world is running out of space. Like we don't have space for the like as much as like we're reproducing. Like literally, they're even trying to figure out if we can have life on different planets. Like if we could survive on like different planets. So you got to understand, they're gonna do things to where they feel as though, you know, okay, this might take out a few people, or this might take out a few people. You know what I'm saying? And they do it in like subliminal ways of viruses and different like that. And I'm not like, you know, like Lucia said, I'm not a conspiracist, but
It's some stuff that don't add up.
it's just, I mean, like some stuff is like, okay,
1 and 1 ain't really being 2.
yeah, like 1 and 1 starting to equal 5 somewhere, and it's just like, okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it started in China. Oh no.
And then I'm sorry. And then it's like you gotta understand, like with Corona, it's hitting like, okay, yes, it's everywhere, but it's like they're really hitting those big cities, like those big states, those big countries, because it's like these are the like, okay, we're China, New York, yeah, like so it's really like when you look into it, it's just common sense to be like, oh, okay. Like, you know, so
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a little of all of that. I really do. I think it's a little bit of all of that mixed into one. And so then what's our response to that? This is College COVID and Christianity, by the way. All of you that are tuning in to us live, we're having conversations about those 3 topics, anything and everything there and in between, with a group of brilliant, bright, beautiful people as they discuss from their point of view what's happening and what's going on. And so, yeah, I think that all of those things kind of play a part in all of this. The blessing is God still wins, no matter what they're trying to do, no matter what they're coming up with. God still wins. So remember, I said that He sees the whole map. That means when Corona was going to be introduced, God already had an exit plan for His people. I'm not talking about exit as it relates to death, although to be absent for the body is to be present with Christ. So Corona didn't win even with that, nor the devil. But I really believe that there is a level of protection that will be set, given, and placed upon His people, so that we don't walk in all of the devastation that is to happen. Yes, there have been people who are in God that have died, absolutely, but for the Christian, to live is Christ, but to die is gain. And so either way it goes, we win. You know, everything attached to me wins. So the victory for us lies in that. Whereas for other people who don't know our God, there is no what you would call victory other than them not being infected. You see, so we're good as it relates to that. And moving forward will be better. Now, attached to our faith is also our wisdom. And that means level up in keeping your hands clean, level up in, masking when you're going in certain areas. I'm not saying don't go, but when you go, if no one else is wearing a mask, you still wear yours. Level up in taking care of yourself. We started, one of the things that was prevalent when Corona hit was the fact that more African Americans were dying faster than any other population. And it is because we had more health issues, because disproportionately health care for the African American community has been subpar and poor at best. So now we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. If nothing else, it's waking us up and making us aware that we don't have to have everything lard laden. That we can use cooking oils that don't have a whole bunch. Now, I love biscuits made with lard. Listen, ain't nothing like it. I just hadn't had it in a while. But maybe biscuits made with lard isn't good for my arteries, and we know it's not. So then we're using and picking better, healthier choices going forward. So if they're not offering us, quote unquote, proper health care, then we can use what God gave us as healthcare, and that's the body, because the body is supposed to be able to heal itself anyway. And the only reason why it's not healing itself properly is because we're not giving the body the right nutrients and things needed for the healing to take place. So here again, we win. So now we're awakening to the fact that, hey, no, we don't have to have heart disease. We could eat this or do that. Here I am, getting ready to go probably find me some fried chicken somewhere. but that's the kind of thing that I'm saying. And so there is an awakening that's happening for all of us, that we'll walk in levels of wisdom along with our faith, saying, okay, so we can't get this from you, but there's some grains that we can consume. There are natural sweeteners that we can use. There's a healthier choice that we can select in order to continue to live and survive. See, I think a lot of our eating habits were based upon our ability to purchase healthier foods. You don't make a lot of money, well, you can't buy healthier foods. Think about it. If you go to McDonald's, you can get a double Big Mac, like a double Big Mac, extra super dinosaur size large fry, and a super duper size soda, Coca-Cola, and you can slurp all that down for $5. Now you take that $5 to someplace like a Panera Bread, you might get out there with a baguette. You see what I mean? $5 won't even get you a half a salad at Panera Bread. So then I need more money in order to eat healthier in the restaurant industry. So yeah, we'll just pop up all these little quick burger places that you'll keep grabbing all that grease and sinking it down your throat and continue to get more and more unhealthy. You see? And so now we're wising up. No, we're not going to do that. We can cook at home, and we'll use turkey instead of beef. So smaller changes, I think, comes along with how the world will look, especially for the African-American community, going forward with having Corona still in existence. So we do our due diligence and have some of these things take place. I think we'll be good.
Bishop, just to add facts to me agreeing with what you just said, I was watching a Red Table Talk with Will Smith, and he was just explaining to his family, how I think he said he was maybe 225. That was the biggest he's ever been. And he was just saying how he's been lean his whole life, different movie roles, and different things like that. So he explains to his family how, he went on a 10-day water fast, where he just drank water. And basically he was on high blood pressure medicine. So he was just saying how 2 days in, he just felt horrible, horrible. But he said by that 10th day, he said he stopped taking his high blood pressure medicine, and by that 10th day he felt better than he's ever felt since he's been taking the medicine. And he was just saying how he's been eating he knows how to eat to stay toned, but he's never knew how to eat to feel good, to actually be healthy. And so that was just a fact to put toward what you just said.
Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff, I think, is where we have to start putting our emphasis on, you see, and that way we're always ahead of the game. We're always doing better. So then it's using the Holy Spirit, now we're talking Christianity, for more than just speaking in tongues. It's using the Holy Spirit to determine what's the best path that will leave me and my family and I in a more healthy place and healthy state. So what if Corona never goes away? What do we do? And so those are the things that I'm talking about. We can't sit here with a hope and a wish. We need a plan, and we need strategy. And then we need to walk that plan and that strategy out so that we can still have a life and life more abundantly. All right, you good? So listen, the Q&A took up most of our time, which is fine with me. But it was just good, right? It was good. Thank you, Naya. Yeah, Naya's with us. I appreciate that. Those of you who are watching us live, if there's a question or comment that you may have, throw it in that comment box so that we could maybe address questions that you have. There may be something that we said that sparked a thought and a question in you. We don't mind grabbing that and talking to it. So I'll give you a second to pull your thoughts together if you got a question. And if not, we're going to move forward with these brilliant babies. And I call them, I know they're not babies, but they're my babies. So then there's that. All right. But we'll move forward with them and let them kind of have their conversation, close the conversation with you. I do know that I wanted to ask a question. And that is, and I don't know if any of you have ever been to another, what you would call campus, but let's see, maybe I'll ask it like this. What is the importance of going? What has been the most important thing you've learned or received from going to an HBCU?
All right. So I can say as a it really is, but mine is going more so towards the financial piece. Okay. So going to an out-of-state college, yeah, I'm gonna just leave that in the air. So I felt like at first that nobody really, because I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of people at A&T that attend A&T. So I think what really made me stick to the school is because like I remember one day I was in my room like just praying and crying because like I was on the verge of losing my classes and losing my housing because of a bill, like, you know. And so I remember I went to the financial aid office and it was this woman there, like, and she's because like my whole thing is she could have easily turned me away and was like, you know, you got to go find the money on your own. You have to go do that. But she really sat there with me and helped me look for scholarships and talked to me and actually sat there and was like directing me in ways to get money. And she actually found money for me. Like, so there, like, I knew it was more so a family aspect for me for college because a lot of colleges just look at you as a number. But honestly, A&T, like, they really care about you. And that's what really made me stick there. Like, that's one reason.
So, Bishop, can you ask your question one more time?
The benefit of attending an HBCU and, you know, what has it done for you for going there, by going there?
Oh, okay. So, that's what I thought you said, but I didn't make sure that's what you said. Okay. So for me, okay, Claflin isn't really a huge institution, so it's provided me with. Well, let me start here. Growing up, I'm like coming from like a huge family. We're very close, so it was pretty tough, like going away from school and like all my people was home, like 2 hours away. I'm just like, yo, like crazy. So like Claflin, it provided me with like a family setting because it's not as big. I can honestly say coming from like, you know, different, not even, well, coming from high school and like middle school and different things like that and having more Caucasian teachers, it was like, you can tell that at an HBCU, they care. Like seeing people that look like you in positions of power and in positions of like teaching you and different things like that, it one helps your confidence to know that you can get there one day. Then two, it's like my mama, like you my second mama, like you my mama away from home. So it's just like they provide that cookout, come get a plate, girl type, you know, that's how they do. Like, so as far as financial, I had a bit of a struggle. Yeah, I had a bit of a struggle, like as far as financially. Like my first year, it's horrible financially. It was my second year, it was pretty difficult as well. But it's like my junior year, I walked into school debt free, free tuition, and I'm doing the same thing this year as well. So, and I cleared way before the clear date, so I thank God for that. But I wouldn't change any of it because it's like, yes, you know, I struggled But it's like if I wouldn't have struggled, I wouldn't have met the people that I met that actually play a huge part in helping me get to where I need to go. And it's just like financially it's just been very, I don't know, like it's taught me a lot, like being able to, actually go to HBCU.
Um, for me, going to HBCU, it helped me to appreciate my culture more. It really helped me to appreciate the Black culture. Cause growing like through high school, even through middle school, and even elementary school, like basically school and period, I've been in classes. I've been in honors classes, like basically my whole schooling. And in honors classes, most of the students are white. Like they're they're white, and it's just like to go to Claflin and walk into class and 98 to 100% of the students are Black. It's just like, oh, okay, like, hey, cousin, like and just the diversity of our people. Like, you have African Americans who grew up in more affluent settings, and then you have the middle class, and then you have people who like were basically like struggling, but to see that they made it out of whatever situation that they were in, and like their interest, what they want to do. It's just like the diversity factor, and like the Black community not being monolithic. Like, it's not just one way to be Black. Like it helped me to appreciate the flexibility of us. And then like I met like so many. Like going to HBCU, like Shara and Kaka said, like it's a family feel. Like it's definitely a family feel, especially at Claflin, being that it is so small. And then like you meet people there that you will like be friends with after you graduate. Like I have a few of those people now, but it's just like it helped me to appreciate our people more.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Sha?
Okay. Going to HBCU, it actually hold on, I gotta get my words together. But it actually helped me to become like knowing what I want to be. It actually helped me in a way to become what I want to be. Like going through the process or whatever. Because like I have people that's around, like not even just tall, but like other people in higher chairs and stuff like that, helping me to like stick to the right path and stuff, and be there to have someone to like be like, oh, I need help with this, help with that, because some things you don't like, all things you don't learn at home, so you have to like venture out so you can go, occupy in their own places in the world and stuff. And I'm just looking forward to HBCU because there's so many different cultures and people and like lessons to be taught and learned, and they just help you to evolve in your culture.
I love it. I love it. One of the things that I think I heard each one of you say is the family aspect of HBCUs, and I think it was Kiana had said it not being monolithic, and you get a chance to see Black beauty on display in every hue, every color, and every expression, which is an amazing thing. I mean, every time you've said that word before, and every time you say it, I always go back to, I mean, it just has to be probably the Black people's movie anthem. I keep going back to Black Panther. And when they were all heading towards that sacred place to anoint the Black Panther as the Black Panther. And you just saw this array of colors, an array of expressions, an array of musicality and rhythm. And I mean, I was sitting there watching it, and I don't know what came over me, but it was like, yes, like, oh my God, and I wanted to get up and I can do that too. And then I started figuring out, okay, so that's where some of these fraternities get these party walks and stuff from. I mean, we got it from them. We got it from our roots, kind of deal. And so I absolutely love that. We got a point right here. HBCUs teaches history as a whole and good experiences when it comes to diversity. Yeah. And so I think it's a great thing. Not saying that you shouldn't go to other colleges. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a uniqueness and something to be experienced. So those of you who are getting ready to go to college and you're thinking, maybe I don't want to go to an HBCU, and it will change your mind. Do not go to college. Go to college, and you'll be able to better yourself, number one, and two, it'll just open you up to a whole new world. One of the things that I'm a big proponent of is exposing one to just different things. We didn't get to it yet, but we'll probably get to it next week, like music. I'm not stuck in one genre of music. I listen to it all. Well, not all now, but as I grew up, my mom exposed us to every kind of music. So, I mean, I like country when country wasn't cool. So, I mean, I love it. Dolly Parton and I forget the guy's name now. He just recently died. But we would listen to all of them. I would listen to pop. I listened to, of course, R&B. I mean, just all of those different things. And so then my palette for music is not just stuck in one place. So then it gives you that chance to kind of get a variety. There's more to life than just going to McDonald's. Go to another one of those restaurants and get a different kind of experience. I remember when I went to college, I was always used to buffet. I mean, when I went to go eat, we going to buffet. That's just what it was going to be, period, point blank. I went to college, and I'll never forget, I went to my first a la carte restaurant, and I thought, like, what's this? Wait a minute now. I could pay $4.99, $3.99 for all you can eat. I can stuff my face. But you're talking about $3.99 just gives me this one thing? But it gave me a different experience, and also showed me that I didn't have to do buffet in order to get full. See, in my head, I thought buffet means full. No, buffet just probably meant gluttonous. But a la carte meant, you can get enough to get yourself full. All right, so we didn't get to our topic today. It's okay. I still think those questions and our interaction was really, really good. I'm almost certain that people who are watching were blessed and enhanced and enriched by our conversation. So as we do, every time we come live is to give you all a chance to have what we call parting words. That could be what we've discussed today. That could be what we've discussed in the past. It could be something that's just kind of on your heart right now that you want to release to your age group, your age level that's listening live or by replay. So we will start with, I forget who we started with last week. Well, we didn't do it last week. So I don't know. So let's start at the bottom, and then we'll come to the here. So we'll go from bottom to the top. We'll start with the Majets, and then we'll come back up to Kiara. All right. So we'll pull you to the front, and you all have at it.
Kiara. Bishop, we was picking at you because you called Kiana Kiara.
I sure did.
Yeah, a parting thought. Trust timing. Trust that where you have to be, you'll make it there in the right time. Trust that the preparation that you made beforehand will pay off. You shouldn't stress about what you prepared for. If you know that you've been like on your grind and you haven't really seen that fruit yet. Big fruit take a long time to grow. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I'm even speaking to myself. So trust your timing. Like trust that trust that all the things that you put into life and like all like I can't do this, y'all. Like I can't, but look, just trust that like everything you've done will all amount to something. Like you may see different people like their fruit is sprouting quicker than yours, but sometimes Rome wasn't built in a day, and a diamond isn't pressurized overnight. So all the things that you've done, and you know that it's been the right thing, just trust that it all will pay off. And just trust that in those things that God is building character so that when you get in that thing, you don't tarnish it. God doesn't bless you to curse you. So don't compare your timing to other people. Keep moving forward. And yeah.
Okay. So I guess I want to talk to the kids that's actually going to college. The freshmen. So just know that everything, like Shara said, is a process. You may have to walk your path alone, but it's okay because when you walk your path alone, you'll appreciate God more because when nobody else is not there for you, He is. Like real life. That's honestly all I can say. Um, just appreciate every little obstacle because it builds you to become better. Um, yeah, just honestly, like that's really all I can say. Just trust every obstacle. I mean, not trust every obstacle, but just like appreciate every obstacle and remember to just keep God first and stay there, man. Okay. To piggyback off of what Kaka said, to trust and appreciate obstacles because the point of fact, everyone's story is different. Like, yes, you may have done whatever you did, and it gave you a minor setback, but a minor setback always comes with a major comeback. So either way, if you feel like you aren't there yet, like you have to also learn how to appreciate your yet because yet means that you're still learning. Yet means that you could keep going. Like yet comes with an ellipsis because ellipses are something that it has meaning to continue whatever it is that you want to say or do. So appreciate your ellipsis, appreciate your yet, and just keep going because you'll get there.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out why y'all trying to preach. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh my God, they preaching. Well, preach then. All right, Kiana. Y'all know I mess up everybody's name. You up. Here we go.
Shara was kind of walking in the vein where I was gonna come from. Okay, so let me preface it before I say what I'm gonna say. So as Bishop like mentioned, like I'm an activist. I consider myself an activist. And this week I've been feeling stuck. Like I feel like I haven't been doing a lot for the movement. I feel like I've been kind of like complacent. And then like I follow other activists on my social media and I see that they're like doing like these great big things and stuff. And I'm just like, well, am I not doing enough? Like I've been working hard to get to where I'm at right now. I organized like my third event, stuff like that. But it's just like it just seems like I'm not doing enough. And then God had to sit me down and have a kumbaya moment with me, and was just like, "You're doing enough. Like, don't compare what you are or are not doing right now to what other people are doing. Like because comparison is the thief of all joy. So it's like." my message is don't compare yourself to others. Like, you're doing what you're doing, and that's great. That's good enough. You're good enough with what you're doing and what you have. And like when you start to compare yourself, it'll stifle you, it'll unmotivate you, it'll get you thinking, okay, maybe I'm not good enough for this. But if God gave you the thought, if God gave you that push, and God placed it in your spirit to do it, then you're good enough to do it because God said so. And it's like don't compare yourself. And just like Shara said, like all fruit doesn't bloom at the same time. Like, just because you may have a little like Johnny Appleseed, and Johnny on the other side of the fence already has this apple tree, that doesn't mean that what you have isn't good, you know? So just don't compare yourself, and know that you are good enough with what you're doing and where you're going, and you will get better in that process. Yeah.
Okay, so now you preaching.
Yeah.
So let's go back to some of this stuff. I mean, good gracious. So we start with Shira. Let me see if I can find where I posted the thing. Shira says, oh Lord, I can't find it. I know I put it up there. Because I want to say it just like she said it. Oh, you said trust timing. I remember. Oh, a diamond is not pressurized overnight. Okay, like what? Like really? Like you just gonna throw that out there and pass the laptop, like drop the mic kind of deal? Really? Okay. So then Ka comes up and says, you may have to walk alone, but it's okay. God will be with you. Absolutely. And then Shah says a minor setback has a major comeback. I'm just done. I'm done. And then this other joker comes in and says, comparison is the thief of all joy. I'm like, okay, I believe I can make it now. I've been strengthened. If you're a college kid and or college young person and you're not blessed today, your blesser is broken, because these ladies dropped nuggets on you with their parting thoughts. And so we didn't get to any of our topics, right? We didn't get to any of them today, but we'll try to we'll run as fast as we can. College old persons too. That yeah, that's true. Yeah, y'all, we got some old ones, but we'll get back to it next Tuesday. So next Tuesday we'll try to pick up the topic on honor. We're going to try to pick up the topic called on music. And then we're going to talk about, since all of you all are ladies, we're going to talk about boys.
Oh, okay. Oh,
We're going to talk about boys.
This conversation is what?
It's the call dropped.
Right? No, the call didn't drop. The call, y'all can hear me loud and clear. So we're going to talk about honor. We're going to talk about music, and we're going to talk about boys. All right. Until then, you all make sure you stay tuned. Tonight at 6:30 will be our Bible study. Our Bible study is going to be different. Listen, we're going to have something that I call faith conversations. Faith conversations. It's going to be incredible. One of the things that we've kind of gotten rid of and gotten away from in church is testimony service. But the Bible says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so not that we're going to have quote unquote testimony service, but we're going to have faith conversations. And so there may be some places where you're wavering in your faith. You want to tune in tonight and next week and probably the week after that, because we're going to have faith conversation. Yep. Deacon Majette, I'm talking about boys. I am. We going, yeah. In Jesus' name, I'm gonna have to pull out my belt and do a digital spanking or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. So yeah. So tonight is gonna be Faith Conversations, 6:30 on the Sword of Truth page here on Facebook, and Brown Gravy TV on YouTube. Those of you who are watching us right now on YouTube, Brown Gravy TV, God bless you. Tomorrow at 12 noon is my high schoolers High School Shelter in Place and Spirituality. They're coming in to give us some thoughts and ideas concerning some things related to them. So until then, you continue to stay blessed. You continue to stay in the will of God. The safest place in the whole wide world is in the will of God. You cannot find a safer place. So if you're going to be sheltered in place, the best place to be is sheltered in his will. And when his will is the place that's your covering, then your destiny is yea and amen. Until next time, this is R. Christopher Brown. We'll see you then. God bless.